What's the most high-risk, low-reward thing you've ever done? I once followed a young homeless man I just met because he wanted to show me where he was staying. It was nighttime and he invited me down into a dip in the trees. We walked through a dark section of forest, then he showed me some rocks and small caves with a couple beds set up. Then we left. I literally followed a stranger into the dark woods because... curiosity? Suicidally? Walking into my house as a confident 15-year-old with a cigarette in my mouth telling my dad things were gonna change around here. Wow. Did not expect this. I feel I must clarify for all involved. This was a skit from a Lee Evans consort I had just watched with a friend. Thinking it was a good idea, I thought of doing it to my dad. A merchant seaman of considerable years and experience. A hard man basically. You're either liked or not. No middle ground with him. I didn't take into account that he hadn't seen this particular concert and for all intents and purposes does not do funny. The hit I took that day forever changed me as a man. As it's the best I've had yet. So yes, things changed. I never tried anything that foolhardy again. I still get ringing in my right ear and I never ever told my mom because I fear her more. Thank you all for the replies and rewards. I truly did not expect this. Stay safe everyone. Fixed. Jesus, it's autocorrect LOL. Relax dictionary divas. Climbing up a water tower when drunk to find a friend. Turns out said friend was not even lost. He was yelling at me from the base of the tower. I stole every wheel off the chairs in my high school's computer lab as a joke during a 20-minute break. I still have one of them. Probably could have gotten expelled just for a slightly funny joke and a useless chair wheel. Whilst building a house, the second floor had an I-beam that extended out into nowhere that needed to be painted with rust protection paint. The floor had not been installed yet and the joists were still going in. To save time, I shimmied out to the end of the beam and started painting. Every breath of wind made the whole thing sway. Just my movements made it wiggle a fair bit. Nearly took a 6-meter swan dive to a concrete floor about 12 times. I could have painted it after the floor was in, but that would mean laying down drop sheets and lots of messing around. Should have waited. Was a totally stupid thing to do. Snuck a girl over and had unprotected sex while my parents were home. Got syphilis at 17. Told this story before, but it's been a while. My friends and I used to break into expensive-looking houses and use their showers. This was in the late 90s when ridiculous showers were in vogue and we wanted to know if they were actually any good. For the most part they were not. We never stole anything, well, except water. We brought our own towels and toiletries. We were very careful about who we hit and made sure they had set schedules and no children or pets. The reward was a shitty shower. We risked jail time. I once went on a heater at the Luxor in Vegas. When it was over I had turned $60 into 7-8K and change. I was drunk with excitement. It was 8 a.m. Saturday. On the way to the cage, shadowed by 3 floor guys, I spied an empty blackjack table. I walked over to it and asked one of the floor guys with me if I could bet it all in one hand. The table has a 5K limit. He nodded okay. I had no money to split. After 2 hits we end up pushing on a 17 and I avoided what would have been the most stupid, embarrassing thing I have ever done. I moved across the country, California to Massachusetts, because I saw my high school crush on a dating site. Turns out she won't date bald men under any circumstances. Wasting 2,000 plus hours for playing competitive multiplayer game. At the end, nothing I got other than hurting my eyes, brain, and my emotion. Go to work every day and work in close proximity to dozens of people during a pandemic for less than $500/WK. I was a free intern for a flower shop. One day there was a shady person walking in a store basement. Somebody said he stole something from the shop and fled to the basement. The shop was in an apartment building. Street level and the basement led to all over the building. So they said to me as 16Y/O girl to go to the basement and check the situation out. Well, I was young and dumb and went. Thank God I found no one. Jumping onto a bus that was pulling away from the bus stop without closing its doors. The bus is every 10 minutes. I got hit by a car and broke 2 bones in my wrist. I was on my bike and the girl who hit me was a new driver. I didn't feel like messing up her record over a small mistake and making her insurance rates skyrocket. I didn't know what was messed up initially, but I just didn't want to make it bad for her. I was barely hit. I basically just fell straight sideways on my wrist. Granted, if my bike was busted, I probably would have gone after her, because that was how I got to school and around everywhere. I was working as a chef in a gourmet bar/restaurant. And I'd become somewhat of a teacher's pet in the form of my manager's favorite employee because I was never late, covered shifts, etc., not for his sake. I wanted more money. New guy started and he was just awful. Only got 2 weeks into the job before almost being sacked, but I wanted to teach him the ways. Anyway, one day he carelessly left a cloth on an open flame during prep in the morning of Valentine's Day, our biggest revenue generator, and the fire ravaged through about 1/4 of the kitchen, including the stock, the microwaves, the cooker and the veg prep area. And for some stupid ducking reason I said it was my fault when the manager was on the warpath, thinking the new guy would be saved and I'd just take a humongous bollocking for being stupid and all would be fine eventually. Nope. I got sacked. He threw me out. To this day I will never ever understand why I put my neck into that guillotine of fire. I was stationed at GTMO, worked exterior security. Nothing in the facility itself, and it's actually a pretty laid-back place to work. Anywho, there's a bunch of different beaches we could swim at and me and a few others thought it would be fun to swim down around the fences and snap some pictures on the Cuba side. Turns out they really didn't like that. They didn't approach us, but there was an announcement made that doing such was highly illegal. They shut down the adjoining beaches and they demanded we come forward. We never did and they never figured it out. But yet we basically risked an international incident for a couple of pictures. Stupidest thing I've ever done. Slept in a tent at an abandoned asbestos mine. Was able to see some of the asbestos all over the ground. View wasn't bad in the morning though. Note: most asbestos-related issues don't show for 30 years. Don't know if it is 30 years. Can't be bothered looking it up. I won't know if I'm safe or going to end up with lung damage. Taking an ex to high school prom because we were friends. I paid for the ride, the dinner, the tickets, because it was my prom, not theirs, 1 year junior to me. We got to the event and they ignored me. Wouldn't dance with me. Wouldn't talk to me, told me point blank that they would not, and told their friend group, the dates my other friends asked, to ostracize me once we arrived. So much for being friends. I guess they were planning on this FU for a while. Background: I broke up with them because they cheated on me. And they felt betrayed. I was floored and went and danced with a Colombian friend of mine who was a fantastic dancer and we had a great time. Found ex in the hallway crying because they were so embarrassed that I had abandoned my date and went and danced with not so nice word for a promiscuous woman. They refused to acknowledge their own hypocrisy and cruelty. I truly thought we were good before this night. I never talked to them again.